Hi.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good. I like the focus on you.
It's from my work. It's like always on this like constant background. I can take it off.
No worries. It's fine. So just before we get started, I just want to let you know that we do record our consultations and lessons and all those other things. It's on the form and everything, so just giving you a heads up.
Yeah.
So I read your consultation form. I saw you're looking to address the reactivity. I think it's a leash walking maybe, and bull terrier female. I forget your dog's name. What's her name again?
Diabla.
Diabla.
So we're looking at like basic obedience, like heel and come. She worked with actually, so let me back up. We've only had her what, like 4 months?
4 months.
Like 4 or 5 months. Actually I'll take off this background. And there we go. And she worked with like a trainer in Nashville for a while, because we lived in Nashville for a couple months, on her reactivity, and it got a lot better, but she's still a little bit reactive. So reactivity, like basic obedience. What else? Like
I think it's just the ability to be able to bring her to daycare and not worry about it if we need to.
Got it.
That's my primary concern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I wouldn't trust her with another dog.
Okay. Why?
Well, one, we haven't done it, right?
Okay.
Like we don't really have like a dog that we could just kind of rent out and use. So we haven't done it. And then she's reactive with some dogs, but not with others. So like if we're passing by another dog on a walk, some dogs could care less, and some dogs she's reactive with.
Okay. Socialization. So how old is she?
She's 2.
She's 2. And how much does she weigh?
Like 40 pounds.
40
pounds.
And I'm assuming did you rescue her, or did a friend, or how did?
Yeah, we worked with a rescue out of Florida.
Got it. And they said that she's never interacted with other dogs as well, or?
No, so we got her because the rescue, her old parents gave her to the rescue because she actually got into fights with her actual sister. So her other parents had like 4 or 5 bull terriers, and I guess she got into fights with her actual sister over her mom's attention. So like she had like a really nice life. I mean, like she was very like well taken care of. But there was some dog aggression, and I think they said she was like the better suited dog to go out in public, rather than her sister. So they gave her to the rescue.
Got it. Okay. So it wasn't like, so it was just like in certain circumstances they would get into a fight. It wasn't like she was always trying to fight this dog, correct?
Yeah, it was something of the effect that like when the owners would give like the mother dog attention, she would get upset, or when her sister would get attention from the mother dog, she would get upset.
Got it. Okay. So I have your heel, come for obedience, reactivity for behavior, and then socialization. You're interested in that as well. Anything else I should know about? And you said Diabla, right?
Yeah.
Anything else I should know about Diabla, or anything else?
Let me see. She has been working with a transition lead. So that's been really helpful for her, like the one with like the nose and the ear, like behind the ears. So she's reacted really, really well to that. In terms of her, she's a little
she's kind of prissy.
She's kind of sensitive for like especially for like a bull terrier. I've only had male dogs, right? Maybe because she's a female, but she's a little like sensitive.
What do you mean by that?
Like how'd you explain that?
She gets upset very quickly and like will like leave, or if you touch her the wrong way, she might yelp. but she doesn't have any like existing conditions or anything of that nature. So she's just kind of
Like she sometimes like cowers.
like a little prissy.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So she's like a softer type of person.
Yeah, she's not gonna be like kind of like the typical bull terrier in terms of like their confidence and like their reactivity. She's a little bit more like reserved.
Yeah. At least the bull terriers we've had have always been like little tanks. Like they're just so tough.
Yeah.
Less so.
She's less tough. Still has the same attitude, but less like in your face tough. She likes to cuddle and like relax. So it's a little bit different of like a bull terrier attitude.
Got it. Okay. Anything else?
Anything else?
She's good with food and water. Not
good
like,
with people.
Yeah, great with people.
No.
I mean, she really just likes to hang out and sleep and cuddle. Honestly, is her favorite things to do. So nothing.
Yeah, I think she needs to be like much more challenged. I think she's like very smart, but I think she's bored.
Got it. With the previous training, what went away, and like what like tools do they use for you guys? Like what was like done?
Yeah. So we did like 6 sessions, like one-on-one. They used the transitional lead, and we used place. We used
It was just
what are those
general
called?
general walking.
A general walking and like meditative downs place, and then we started like clicker training for come. We had like everything went quite fast until like the clicker training for come.
She didn't really respond well to that, I would say.
Yeah, we're still working on that. She didn't have like a lot of eagerness to come, like very like lethargic in terms of that. And they used, I'm trying to think what else they used. They called it like positive reinforcement.
I think it was
training.
like mixed training. It was like because we had the transitional lead, and then it was also the rewards with dog food and treats.
Yeah. It was the dog wizard. They have like a couple of different they have nothing in Chicago, but they have like a couple of different places in like Ohio and different states.
Got it. Okay. And then you said her reactivity got better. How did what changed, or what maybe was she like not reactive to some certain things, or how was that? Oh no, it's you were saying it was because you had better control because of the head halter.
Yeah. It made like a drastic difference, to be very honest. And she's very, very food motivated. So like she responded really well to the leash and then like the food.
Got it. Okay. And then the recall is that does she come to you, or is she just sometimes she comes, sometimes she doesn't, or is it just her being slow?
Kind of all the above. Like sometimes she comes, sometimes she doesn't. Okay. Like in the house, it's much easier, but like if we're out in public, right, then that's less of a chance. And it's like it's like a very like slow, like lethargic comeback.
Got it. Okay. Anything else?
I can't think of anything else.
I don't think so.
Okay. So it sounds like what you're really looking for is just like the heel and the come and then the reactivity, have socialization, and then what else did I have? Seems pretty much all. Is she muzzle conditioned or muzzle trained?
I don't know. We've never had her on a muzzle.
No.
So I don't think so.
Got it. It's just that if we're gonna do any socialization with her, she would have to be muzzle conditioned or trained. Okay. Because since she does have a history of getting into fights, it would us just being extra careful with that. And you would want to start that now.
Okay.
Because it'll just save you a lot of trouble in the future. So she's just already acclimated to the point. If we start socialization, she's already acclimated to the muzzle. So if it's anything newer, that's going to be another stressful thing for her to kind of worry about, which is the muzzle.
Okay.
I'll talk about that more in a bit. and like the brand we use and everything for that.
Okay.
Okay. And you still walk with her on the gentle leader right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the gentle leader is great because like you get to like once what Cesar Millan says, if you control the head, you can control the body. Is she always reacting and then you're able to kind of control her, or is that kind of what's going
She's
on?
always reacting. Like she doesn't always react to the dogs.
No,
Well, she's
she
probably
doesn't
like
always react.
maybe 20% reactive to dogs, 1 in 5.
Okay, and
And I would say the more we exercise her, the less reactive she is.
okay, and then are these dogs like, are they reactive too, or is it just like a random every other dog, or is it?
No, it's usually the ones that like bark at her, or like the owners that like let the dogs like come into her space. Or like the ones that like come up like closely behind her. It's usually the ones that like do some kind of like trigger type actions. The ones that just like walk right by, she's normally quite fine with.
Ooh, that's good. So it sounds like you just need a little bit more discipline, because right now, technically, gentle leader isn't a aversive because there's no consequence ever. You're just moving her head.
Mm-hmm.
So she will still want to react if you're just, because all you're doing is just moving the body. But with the reactive dogs, what would need to happen is just a consequence. So you would need a tool to give her a consequence for reacting to a dog just near her. Now, if the dog is also reactive to her, you can still we can still stop that behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And are you guys aware that we do use e-collars and phone collars for our programs and dogs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So prong collar. Oh, go for it. Sorry.
I want to say, so I don't think it's like it's the one like, so it does like put pressure on her ear, like behind her ears too. I don't know if I explained the leash right. It's not like a gentle
It's like
lead.
it's kind of like a slip knot. So as you apply, as you pull up on it, it like tightens around the dog.
Yeah. It's the same thing as like a slip leash or like a slip chain, is that they're not really aversive, they just give pressure.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
the pressure isn't going to be like enough to stop her from reacting to these moments, because it keeps happening. So that means it's not retaining. So she's reacting, you're able to how do you settle her? Do you pull up on the leash?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then how is she able to just kind of let that go, or what happens after that?
Yeah, she lets it go.
So the goal would be us to stop her reacting in the first place.
Okay.
And it sounds like it's not that, doesn't sound like it's that intense. We've had cases where the dog is screaming and you're killing the dog. When the dog sees a dog, they start screaming their brains. It sounds like a human. It doesn't sound like it's that intense for Diabla. It sounds like it's just the normal, like if a dog's reacting to her, she's gonna react. So, and it sounds like she just has like boundaries, like thresholds, and she doesn't like other dogs entering that threshold, which is it's all in a sense like normal. So it's like people, it's like, you're having your picnic with your family and it's like a very open field. And then you see like these two, like maybe strangers come up to you. It's like, yo, what are you doing? Like there's an awkwardness. So it's the same thing for her. It's just like, why are you entering my space? Who told you to enter my space? So what I'm getting from her is more of like the reactivity is a symptom. So what I'm thinking is that it's the root could be a territorial or like a resource guarder type thing. So it's like her protecting you in a sense. Same thing with the mother or like the sister, is that why are you messing with my mom? Like what you're entering, you're just too much energy. I don't like this. Attack or protect. So that's what I'm getting from it. That's where I think the reactivity could be coming from. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because it wouldn't make sense, right? Like if someone's like just like runs up to me on the street, like I wouldn't be super stoked about that. So like it makes complete sense.
Yeah. And now obviously we can't have her just like biting other dogs, right? Because I mean, humans, we're able to kind of, use words. We don't just straight up bite people or like punch them in the face or anything like that. We communicate, hey, please don't come this close, or then can you leave us alone? But dogs don't do that. They're very primal, and they use their mouth for communication. What else? So, what was I going to say? So for the e-collar, what would happen is giving her a different sort of consequence, and we would teach her kind of. So you're looking for heal and come. So heal would our version of heal is walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop.
Okay.
So if you take 5 steps with Diabla, she takes 5 steps. If you take 10, she takes 10. If you come to a stop, she's to automatically sit on your side, right shoulder parallel to your left leg, slack leash in any environment.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is this command is so important to her that nothing else should matter. So it's like, if she's like looking at a ghost, or if like a human's looking at a ghost, like she's reacting to this thing that's not really bothering her, or maybe it's just entering the space, so she's reacting. But then this is going off.
Mm-hmm.
This is a real physical feeling. This is physicality. Dogs are physical animals, so maybe if Diabla was with her 5 bull terriers and one wanted to mount her, right? Dogs don't say off, leave it, or sit and then give a treat. It's just, you're doing this to me, I don't like it, boom, bite. So essentially this e-collar is technically biting her. So you're gonna focus on this imaginary thing that's not touching you, or this physical feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So once we get into her head of like, okay, I need to worry about this more than all this. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So e-collar is Jesse likes to call it electric, but not electricity. So it's not flowing to the dog's body. It's just a collar with 2 contact points, and whatever it's touching is contracting. This same technology that we use on our dogs is used for with like physical therapy or like chiropractor. It's called a stim or like tensing it. That same feeling is with the e-collars. It's just a muscle contractor. The brand we use is called Dogtra. Jesse's used many brands throughout his career, and Dogtra has been the top one he's seen the best results with. This brand has 127 levels. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 127. There are other brands out there that maybe go up to like 8 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
Think of the power outage of 10 and 127 equal,
Mm-hmm.
right? They feel the same, but we have so many more numbers to be more specific to the dog's personality, the breed, or like the scenario we're in. So for a dog like Diabla, since she's so soft, maybe her number is like, maybe we have to be very specific with her number because she's a softer dog. Or maybe she's needs high number. All dogs are different. We can't really tell just by hearing how the dog is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like an intense behavioral case. We're probably going to need power. But all dogs are different. We had a Great Dane that was super soft with the e-collar, and her number was like 15.
Mm-hmm.
And she was also on the baby collar, like the little puppy, like the Yorkie Pomeranian type collar. And then we've also had what was it? What kind of dog was it? It was like I don't think it was a Chihuahua mix that was on the big boy collar and was on high levels because he was such a tough dog. But all dogs are different. We've done e-collar training with deaf dogs, blind dogs, um, tripods. We start e-collar training usually around 6 months because that's when the brain has developed enough to understand the sort of pressure. And also by then, at 6 months, the owner has kind of had enough of whatever behavior they're dealing with. Like, fine, we'll do it. But we can go young as 3 months to 4 months old. We've done it before. It's just a little bit more nuanced. It's more for like the dog trainer to teach, not really the dog owner. But we can also do 13, 12-year-old dogs, and we've done that before as well. Any questions? Oh, they're waterproof, a mile long range. They're rechargeable, so you don't need batteries. Just plug them into the wall. The battery lasts a long time. It's very simple to use. What else? Any questions about the e-collar itself?
You said you use prong and e-collar. Is there a reason you choose one versus the other?
Oh, for prong isn't needed. We don't teach prong collar. If we're ever using a prong collar, it's just incorporated with it because it's mostly for like those owners who have like the bully breeds, so like the Rotties,
Yeah.
those strong breeds like the Great Danes for handling control. Because for reactivity, let's say the dog has everything, like humans, squirrels, dogs, bikes, scooters, all that's reactive, right? When we teach heal, the first thing that goes away that we do not need to address is usually the humans. It just goes away. There's no work needed for that. Then it goes bikes and calm dogs. Then it's like scooters and skateboarders, and then other reactive dogs. And then it's you turn the corner, there's a dog. So that turn the corner, there's a dog is the most difficult because you can't be ready for that. So then the prong collar is there to give you quick control of your dog, or the gentle leader can also, or like the tool you're using. What do you guys call it again? I forget.
We called it a transition lead.
Transition. So that can also provide you immediate control because again, you're controlling the head, so it's just immediately like this or pulling up. So that can also be still used for your e-collar training. So it's optional. You can go ahead and just grab the regular flat buckle collar if you want when you're doing e-collar training. But it's just incorporated. It's not like taught or anything, and it's not needed if if you don't want it. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
What else? So we would teach the heel, see what it fixes. Once we teach, because the heel is also covering what the e-collar is for Diabla. So she's learning what pressure on, pressure off is, that she's in control of it. She'll never know that it's you pressing the remote because there's nothing connected to you. For a prong collar, dogs know that you're giving the dog a correction because there's a leash connected to the prong collar. It sounds silly, or maybe you guys know that if you hold like a leash to the dog is looking at the leash as an extension of you. So like if we're addressing maybe a human aggressive dog, what we do is a touch test. We take a bite sleeve and we touch the dog. And if the dog attacks the bite sleeve, it's not like the dog is like, that's the sleeve, I'm not going to attack that, I want the actual like skin part. They don't know that. They think this is a part of you. So we kind of do a test, right? See if they'll attack the sleeve. If they attack the sleeve, they'll definitely attack us. So e-collar gets rid of like that confrontational part of like the aversives. It's also, again, she won't know it's you. She's going to think it's the universe or Big Brother, whatever you want to call it. She's going to think that that's happening. And she's also going to be thinking that she is the one making the choices and decisions to turn on and turn off the pressure, because in result of that, you can get like an increase of confidence. What else? Any questions so far?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, makes sense.
So after we teach her heel, then we can go ahead and begin socializing with her. So she first needs to understand what the e-collar is. The muzzle training is important to start as soon as you can because a dog is a stressor. So if we're putting her in a scenario when she's interacting with the dog and the dog's past her threshold, she's going to be stressed because the dog is there. She's going to be stressed because the e-collar is there, because e-collar is a stressor. No one likes being disciplined, so it's going to cause them to be stressed. That's a stressor. The muzzle is going to be a stressor. So now we have like 3 stressors. If we can get at least the muzzle to be comfortable for her, it's going to make it a lot easier for us to focus on the dog training. We always tell owners, start the muzzle conditioning now. We've had owners wait till the last minute, and then the dog ends up fighting the muzzle, and we've had scratches on the face, claws getting ripped out, and this it can get very messy. If needed, we can force condition in the moment using e-collar, but again, that's not going to be pretty as well. The brand we use, this will be sent to you, is called Baskerville.
Okay.
Muzzle is shaped like a basket.
Okay.
Not closed. It doesn't shut the mouth. It's a basket, so the dog is able to open the mouth and breathe, drink water, eat. The important part for that is just the breathing part. Dogs are very mouth-based, so when they're stressed, they need to vent it out at some point, which is panting. So if the mouth is shut with the muzzle, they can't vent the stress, so it gets confusing for the dog. And it's also giving the dog a feeling that they can use the mouth since they can open it, so they're more likely to show, you know, what they would do without the muzzles. That we can at least address that and kind of get them comfortable with, like, hey, this dog is not a threat. You don't need to react this way. We can't make Diabla play with a dog. All we can do is make her not attack, right? So if she feels uncomfortable with a dog, we would teach her that avoidance is an option. So with reactivity as well, how it kind of goes is avoidance, and then we get submission. Avoidance is what you might see when she sees a dog that she's uncomfortable with. She might look away or try to move away from the dog. That's the first step. Now, after avoidance is submission. Submission isn't always like bow down or like roll on your belly, anything like that. It's just acceptance for us. So it's accepting that there's a dog present, and then there's no need to react in a certain way. Dogs have a few responses: fight, flight, avoidance, submission. So when a dog is on a leash, that's what you hear when my dog's on a leash. They're more aggressive when they're off leash. It's because you're taking away the flight option. So if the dog knows they can't run away, they're not going to submit. They can't avoid because they're uncomfortable. Then all that leaves is fight. So then that's why that's their first response usually. So then we're switching all that around. It's like now you can avoid, then submit, and all that stuff. It'll make sense once we begin the training, and you'll kind of see it how it works. Any questions so far about that stuff?
No.
What else? So for another thing, it's a common question owners have with e-collar is that, after the program, is the e-collar still on, or like is it on 24/7, or how does that work? When does it come on? When does it come off? So it's on when you need it. So right now, it's just like the family, she's hanging out, you guys are hanging out, you don't need it. Let's say you're gonna go for a walk. Even after your program is finished, you should still have it on, because we can't predict what's gonna happen on this walk. Again, dog around the corner, or maybe, Jess had a client where they're playing fetch with the dog and the dog's off leash. And then this other owner and their dog enter their space, and their dog wanted to chase the ball. And so she threw the ball, her dog is going to the client, and then this other dog comes out of nowhere. The client's dog is a resource guarder. So in that moment, she needed power to stop the dog from chasing the ball and get the dog come back to her before there was a fight or and something that got escalated. So if you're gonna have her off leash, definitely have the e-collar on for those scenarios. On leash as well, because let's say we're going for a walk and then a car crash happens right next to you. She gets freaked out and she decides to bolt, and maybe the leash slips out of your hand. We've heard a lot of horror stories where owners get knocked to the ground and all these other things, and leashes break, leashes slip out, or collars. In that moment, if Diabla is running, we call that flight mode. When dogs are in flight mode, they're thinking kill or be killed. So Diabla come might not work in that moment because she's running for her life. So then the e-collar is there to provide you power to override the brain in that moment and to force her to do the 180 and come back to you at speed. Again, in the home, if she's just hanging out, you don't need it to be on. If you're gonna have guests come over and maybe she gets jumpy and excited, and maybe this guest doesn't really like dogs, you can collar her up 30 minutes prior, address whatever that is needing to be addressed. And if you find that Diabla is settled throughout the night, you can take the e-collar off, or you can keep it on just in case.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And after your program, like I said, it'll be on, but you shouldn't be using it all the time. So if we're doing all the work in the beginning, like my dog, Jess's dog, we press the button maybe once a month for emergencies, the 2 times at the most. So it's just there just in case. We're not actively or constantly tapping. if we're tapping a lot in the future, then there's something wrong with the train. There's something that needs to be fixed there.
Okay.
So were you guys looking for like a one-on-one board and train, daycare and train, or what was is there something you had in mind? Or I could run through the programs as well.
Yeah, I was thinking more towards the either like one-on-one or like daycare and train.
Yeah, I think so.
More.
We originally called and we were trying to get it done. We were actually trying to get it done during the end of the year because we're actually going to London for a week or so. So we were going to try to pair that up, but considering that's not really in alignment, or we couldn't get it done with you guys, I think we were thinking of just doing like one-on-ones with some maybe optional daycare, or we want to be able to eventually board with you guys in the future. So whatever qualifications we need to get through that is kind of what we're getting to. Yeah.
That works.
I mean, I don't know that's the end goal is to board with them. Like that's not like the main end goal.
Not the main end goal, but like it would be nice to be able to bring her to daycare somewhere.
Sure. Yeah. So I think like maybe one of like those two. We're not exactly sure.
Yeah. So in person is our preferred way because, especially if since you're dealing with reactivity, it's going to be you at the end of the day walking Diabla and kind of figuring out what to do in certain situations. So with the in-person program, how it works is it's all verbal instruction. The trainer doesn't touch the dog. We're only coaching you. So you're learning everything from ground zero to wherever we end up going. We have different. Oh, Charlie, you can use the big red sweeper. You're good. We have different programs for in person. We have the 6-week program, the 9-week program, and the 12-week program. The 6-week program is how is it? So think of the 6-week program as you walk your dog around the block. You have that structured, and we're kind of addressing reactivity. And then maybe you take her to like a little open park area. You need recall, and then you go home. The 90-week program is both those things, but then maybe you want to take her to outdoor patios and you want her to lay down and not move for an hour or 2 hours. The 12-week program is all those things, but then you maybe go to like hiking areas every other weekend. That's it.
You could care less.
Seems down.
It's no. It's past my bedtime. Oh, I'm so lazy.
So those are how the programs are
Okay.
kind of explained. For you, what I recommend would be, so how it would work is there's 2 classes are needed for heal.
Okay.
We see what it fixes. And then 2 classes for recall, which gives you 2 left. Now, let's say, since it's not that intense of a reactivity, it can work. But then if like we're stuck somewhere, you don't have that much wiggle room left. You only have 2 classes. The 9-week provides you more wiggle room. And we can always add classes. So you can get the 6-week and add another class, or we also have a 3-week bundle. You can add 3 more classes if needed.
Okay.
You can always do that. Or we can do the 9 weeks. So it's 2 heal, 2 recall. We teach you stationary commands, so like a place, a stay, a down, and then you have a few left. So the place command for us is go to your bed, sit, stand, lay down, chew on a bone, whatever you want on the bed. Nothing inappropriate like barking, growling, whining, or chewing on the bed.
Okay.
Don't hop off. That's our place command. But we're only gonna give you what you're wanting. So if you're like, I don't really need to learn place, then I think the 6-week program would be good for you. What else? And then it also depends how much control you're wanting. If you're like, no, I kind of want that off-leash life with with Diabla, it's going to most likely be like the 12-week or like the 9-week program for you guys to kind of get more into that. But if you're just looking for like, let's just get the reactivity done and over with, I need heal, and we're kind of already doing that, and then you need recall, then it's probably gonna be like the 6-week program. So we operate at the facility or Oz Park or Palmer Square Park. We also do in-home as well. For example, today is Tuesday. We had our consultation at 8:30. This is for example, Tuesday, 8:30, 6 times for an hour once a week. Um, on the calendar, you get 6 time slots that are reserved for you, plus one in case it's life happens, if you have to cancel, or whatever has to happen. You get that extra slot that's reserved for you. Once you have used that extra slot, you'll have to wait to get back on the calendar to continue the program. Any questions about the in-person program?
No. Is so Oz Park, actually we live in Lincoln Park, so Oz Park is like super close, which is great. So that was my only question, is that like, because in the house, I mean, she's really, really great, right? Like it's mostly like out in public that like we face most of our issues. So I was just wondering if we could do like out in public. So we already answered that.
Yes, Oz Park is one of my favorites. Everything is there. Baseball games, police dogs. Unfortunately, dogs running and getting into like the street and everything, a lot of chaos happens. So it's realistic. So we always tell our owners, if you can train your dog at Oz Park, you can pretty much do anywhere.
Cool.
Awesome.
So Oz Park is great. It's also depending on weather. If she's cool with the cold, like I don't care. I'm down to work in the cold. As long as your dog is not freezing or anything, we should be cool. But any other questions about the in-person?
No.
Can she wear a coat? Like, I was just curious if that impacts the training.
She's from Miami. She's
dumb question. But
this is her first winter. She's working on it. She thinks this is terrible. So
yes, she can wear a coat. What else? Everything's recorded, so if you forget anything, it's all on video. You can like watch back on your videos. If you get a dog walker in the future, you can show her these, or him or her these videos, like how to walk Diabla. What else?
do you ever bring like maybe like towards like, say you do like the 6-week session, like week 5 or 6, do you ever bring like your own dogs, like if I forgot what they're called, but like the calm dogs?
Yeah, so it'd be okay. So now I forgot the socialization. So it'd be 2 heal, 2 recall, and then we can do, because now we might need to do the 9-week because of the socialization. We would teach you how to introduce her to a dog. So are you looking now for when you do daycare or boarding, we can socialize her here. Do you have a friend that has a dog that you think she would get along with, or they have a calm dog?
Michelle's.
Possibly.
Okay, so this exercise we would teach you would be for those reasons. This exercise isn't like for dog parks or anything like that. It's making a friend for her. So that will be a class on its own of how to introduce her to a new dog that she will be seeing repeatedly, right? We wouldn't use like you wouldn't do this with like a stranger's dog, because you're never going to see that dog again. So we can definitely bring a dog for the lessons to teach her how to do this exercise. For you guys. Anything else?
I don't have anything.
I don't think so.
Okay.
This might be an end of the Zoom question. How far are you guys like booked out? Like if we wanted to like start, is it like a week, or is it a couple months down the road, or what does that look like?
I'm not sure. We have me and Jesse have assistants that operate our calendar, so I don't know. I'm not aware of like the future and everything of booking wise, but I think like I'm pretty sure like it just depends, because we work with your availability. So we can I can be your trainer, and let's say your availability is only on like Thursdays and Fridays. I'm not available Thursdays and Fridays, so then we would have to give you to Jesse. Same thing other way around for Jesse.
Got it.
So that's kind of we'll have to figure that out for with Tina. She's my assistant, and Maria is Jesse's assistant.
Okay, got it.
But I don't think it's like a month or anything. I don't think it's anything like that crazy for me. But for Jesse, I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay.
What else? So that's in person. The daycare and training program is something you were also interested in, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So daycare and training is you drop her off for a daycare day, and all we're doing is training her, and we can also socialize her with our dogs.
Okay.
Everything is recorded, so you're seeing. She's gonna learn heel, stay, sit, down, place, come, all 6 commands, and they're all gonna be recorded. So you're seeing the first time us teaching her every single command. So you're seeing how she's taken to the ECOT for the first time, and how she progresses and how to practice at home and everything.
Okay.
I'd recommend. So we have the 5 day daycare and train bundle, the 10-day, the 15 and 20. You're more in like the 10-15 range.
Okay.
Let's say you do the 10-day daycare and train bundle, you get 2 1-hour-long videos. The first one is called the foundational lessons of us just teaching it. The second video is us transferring those commands to the long leash, a 30-foot long leash. And now we are giving her 30 feet to make mistakes, and we're kind of advancing her obedience in that sense. We'll also be able to take her to walks to Home Depot, PetSmart. So I really like this location because there's a dog park right here. And what we'll do is we'll circle to the dog park, go to Home Depot, go to PetSmart, and then come back to the facility, so we can kind of get all that cool kind of completed there. Pros and cons of the daycare and train program. Pros, we get it done faster, and you can start very soon.
Okay.
Cons, so think of the 10-day care and train program equal to like the 9-week program, like around,
Okay.
and like the 20-day bundle equal to the 12-week program. Cons is that at first the training will be tied to us only. So that's a common concern for owners, is that, okay, the trainer was present, the dog was great, but then the trainer left and the dog was terrible.
Yeah.
That technically won't happen for e-collar training, because let's say we're training with Diabla and we find her training number to be 30. When I press the button on 30 and you press the button on 30, it's still 30. There's no he's stronger than her or she's stronger than him or any of that stuff. It's just 30 is 30. So with the programs, what comes with it is our follow-up lessons. So for the 10-day, you get the 3-hour follow-up lessons that will still take place at Oz Park. And all we're doing is just transferring the obedience to you. So you'll watch your video, see how it works. Come first lesson, you already have some knowledge behind it. Or you watch your video and you can start practicing on your own. It's all personal preference for the owner. Some owners would rather have the follow-up lesson first, then start practicing. And you can schedule these follow-up lessons whenever you want throughout the program, as long as it's after the 3rd class. You can schedule it like right away, and you can begin while we're still doing the program.
Okay.
What else?
So you
Again,
with like the 10-pack of daycare or whatnot. So you give like the 10 days of daycare, and then you have 3 1-hour follow-up lessons that you schedule, throughout.
yes.
Okay. And they're like lessons for us, essentially.
Yes, it's just we'll do like that, and you'll still get that in-person experience.
Okay.
And then it doesn't go by lessons, it goes by time. So our first follow-up could be an hour and a half if you want, or I've had clients do the full 3 hours before, so we can do that as well if you want to get overloaded with information. No, it's fine.
I don't have the attention span for that.
Yeah, but it's just by time. So if we're working and then you're like, okay, I think I have enough information, we can stop there, and you still have that time available for you.
Got it.
What else? Any other questions?
I don't.
That all makes sense.
So again, after this consultation, you're going to receive a follow-up email from Tina. She's going to send you the programs we talked about with the prices.
Okay.
The e-collar I recommend for Diabla. Now the e-collar is sold separately from the program. She'll provide you a link to Amazon, or you can purchase it through us. We sell at the same price. It's just if you buy through us, you get 30 days. Within those 30 days, if there's a malfunction with the e-collar, you can go ahead and send it back to us. We'll be in contact with Dartra, and then we'll borrow you a collar. After those 30 days, you'll have to contact Dartra yourself. And then she'll also send you an agreement form. So if you're going to do the daycare and train program, you would have to send over your shot records and a fecal exam that says negative. If you're doing the in-person, we don't need that information because you're not in the facility. What else? Trying to think if I missed anything.
It seems like everything, no? Yeah. Easy enough.
Trying to think if I missed anything. I saw that she had a lot of allergies, right?
Yeah, she's white with black ears, and she's like very typical bull terrier skin. So now it's a lot better since the weather is colder. But when we first got her, so she was always in Miami area, and she was on like Apoquel every day. And so like when we got her, we like changed her diet, and like her skin has gotten a lot better. But like when it transitioned from what was it, spring to fall, she was like covered in bumps. So she has really bad allergies with the seasons.
Got it. Okay. Another thing with the e-collar is that some dogs are allergic to like the metal, so then we'll have to swap out the metal. Another thing is that since she has a thinner coat, if you have the e-collar on for more than 2 hours, you have to rotate it to the other side of the neck, like at an hour and a half or 2 hour mark to the other side, so that she doesn't get pressure sores. It's not stimulation. It's just that there's 2 metal probes in one spot for such a long time that they can get like redness in the area. If she goes swimming, or if this is going to be like wet here, you want to get it every like 30 or 45 minutes, because then the moisture builds up and then it gets worse. But we'll see how that works out. But again, if she's allergic to the metal, we can go ahead and swap out other contact points for her to kind of not get a reaction from.
Okay. So far it's just nature and like the general outside. So hopefully she should be good. She has a collar on and everything and hasn't been reactive to it.
Good. Another common question is that owners will say the dog was great, but every time I take the e-collar off, maybe the dog jumps again or is more reactive. So we like to use an example to kind of, for it to make sense to the owners, is like, do you guys drive on the highway?
Yeah.
You go the speed limit?
No.
And then what happens when you see a squad car?
Slam on the brakes.
Yeah. So it's called opportunistic behavior. It's a nature thing. So dogs are very opportunistic. So Jesse likes to call the e-collar a cop on a collar. So if the cop isn't there, then she's going to take advantage of that. It also has to it's about like consistency, so that what happened here? I still see you, but I gotta so it's about consistency. So if we're here and there walks with the e-collar, here and there walks no e-collar, she might realize maybe another dog is like really reactive and she's been doing great, but then she's like, I'm uncomfortable. Maybe she makes a mistake, because dogs will make mistakes. And then if there's no way to stop her, then she's learning, oh, how come I wasn't, able to be stopped? Or maybe she pulls, or maybe she does something that she's not supposed to be doing. She'll learn that when the e-collar is present, that's when she has to behave. If you are consistent and you're doing everything correctly, and if she's still opportunistic, it has nothing to do with the training. It has nothing to do with the way you guys practice. Again, it's just she's an animal. It's just a nature type of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
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 Other than that, like I said, the basketball muzzle will be sent out to you.
Okay.
A common thoughts for our daycare and train and board and train program. Anything when the dog is sent to somewhere, they think that when the dog comes back, there's supposed to be like a brand new car or something. That's not how dog training works. Just a heads up. So as the daycare and training goes along, you might not notice a big difference. Some owners notice a difference right away, some don't. It's just because Diabla will know that here and Jesse's facility that it's structured and disciplined, and you can't try anything here. So she'll be good here. The follow-ups are there to transfer everything to you so that you know how to use the tool, and that she knows like, oh, this is with mom as well, right? So just heads up on that.
Okay.
Other than that, I think that is all. So Tina will be reaching out to you
Okay.
either today or the next day with the information that we kind of talked about. And then once you sign the agreement or fill out the form for the shot records, whichever program you decide to go with, we can begin the billing and booking process.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
No?
Sounds good.
Sounds
All
good.
right. So we'll be in touch. Other than that, it was very nice speaking to you. I know you're Stephanie, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm Frank.
Frank. Nice. It was very nice speaking to you guys, and nice getting a little glimpse of Diabla in the
Lazy ass. She's been sleeping the whole time.
But other than that, nothing out of the ordinary for us. Just our, I guess, as Jesse would say, another day in the office. So
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for all your time. And I'm excited to get all the information.
of course. All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Bye.